You're listening to the Be Forever Cool podcast. My name is Rex45. We had MotoGP in Silverstone. Silverstone, one of the most iconic tracks in the world. One of the most iconic tracks. I guess once you say the world, you really can't say anything else. I got to say universe and galaxy and all that other stuff beyond. Very exciting. I can't wait to talk to the guys about this because I know the vibe before the race weekend, and I know my vibe after. I'll be curious to see what my guys here, the crew, thinks about that. So it'll be very interesting to see. Before we get into that, though, I'd like to thank all the folks that are liking, subscribing, following, commenting. We really appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? You're helping turn this thing into something very special. I'm very excited about it. We got all type of names that I can name drop about. That's commenting and liking and all this fun stuff. But I'm not going to do that. But I do appreciate y'all. So go to beforevercool.com. Check us out. Check out what we do. If you like what we do, follow the steps that help us continue growing. With that said, I want to shout out the affiliates, Woodcraft Technology. Definitely go to Woodcraft and use the Rexy code. If you spend over $100, you get a free T-shirt. You got to get a free T-shirt. I mean, I got so many T-shirts and so many tracks. I can't wait to start rocking them on the show. I might save it for next season, but get a Woodcraft shirt while you do it. If you're racing, if you're riding, and you plan on riding for a long time and want to get comfortable between clip-ons and all that fun stuff, rear sets, exhaust, and everything you might need, Woodcraft is the place to go. If you're a track only or track sometime guy, check out Mark 10 Motorsport. He sells Pirelli tires. Mention Be Forever Cool, get 10% off some Pirelli tires. I believe, you know what I'm saying, if you get 5 sets, if you buy 4 sets, I think the last set is free based on 10%. My math could be somewhat off. You might have to buy a couple more. But at some point, you will get one free. So, that's all I'm just saying. It's good because most people are just paying full price and they're burning through tires on them big bikes, especially if you're riding a small bike like you see in the photo, the KTM. You know what I'm saying. You might be able to save some rounds. But either way, it's good to get a discount. And as I said before, beforevercool.com. With that said, let's get into this thing because we got a lot to talk about. It's craziness that's happened. So let's check in with the guys and see where they're at and what they're up to and all that fun stuff. I'm trying to click on this, but it ain't working right. Reese, welcome to the show, man. How you doing? I hear noise in the background, like, you know what I'm saying, like they're about to come and get you. Is it too loud for you to talk, or you're not hearing me? This is not good. Not good at all.
I think I lost connection with you, buddy.
Oh, there you go. I can hear you. Can you hear me? You cannot hear me. This is not... it's not good for mic check. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see if we can get to Lewis and see. Maybe we can double back. Lewis, man, can you hear me?
That's recent as coconut wireless, man. I can hear you just fine. Reese needs to upgrade from T-Mobile.
All right. I mean, yeah, Reese, you may need to remove yourself and add yourself back. Okay. I wasn't quite sure. I do see something that says that you're entering the stage. So there might be a little bit of something going on there. Hey, what's good, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Your camera just went black, by the way.
Right?
Kind of technical difficulties.
Yeah, bro. What's going on? Like, for real. That's bizarre. On so many levels. Let's see if that fixes it.
But I'm doing good, man. It was a busy weekend. I was out at Autobahn Raceway in Joliet, Illinois. I was out there with the Orange Cat team. They do this thing every year called Orange Cat Fest. It was a 3-day event. And it's a really, really cool time that they put together, man. They bring out a bunch of bikes, the Light Fighter bikes, BMWs. They let people that show up ride the bikes on the track, do lap times, go out there and run laps with their racers. The racers were out there riding 300s. It was really fun, man. Really, really good time. Andrew, Jeff, and everybody at Orange Cat know how to put together a really great event. And all the proceeds went to a great charity, a local charity. So compared to some of the other track days that happened this weekend, when the charity was just taking as much money and running and leaving the customers with a bad taste in their mouth, this track day was about leaving the customers a great taste and actually no money going back to the people that paid for the day. All the money went to a really cool charity.
Well, that's what's up, man. We like it when organizations donate to charities because we need it. Reese, you can hear us? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I can hear you now, man.
Okay, man. All right. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know if they were coming to get you. You know, sometimes it'd be like that.
Nah, just had a little headset trouble. It's not a reconnect. We good.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. I wish it was only that for the weekend, man. It seems kind of crazy. I don't even know where to start with this one. And I guess let's go around the horn and just kind of, talk and see what you guys are thinking. And then I'll give my thoughts on the weekend. Let's do that. So let's start with, and you saw MotoGP, Silverstone, having 3 weeks off. You know how that goes when we don't get that motorcycle adrenaline that we're looking for. So I was all revved up Saturday in practice and stuff like that, and the whole weekend. But what are your thoughts on the weekend, man? What you saw, what we talked about beforehand, as far as who should have stood out, who should have been doing anything. I mean, we talked about the top 8 riders has a chance to before Silverstone have a chance to win the championship, and who's going to take advantage of that. So with that in mind, what did you see and what are your thoughts?
I saw a couple things. I did see like Bezecchi. He stood out to me the most. For someone that was injured to still be able to hit the podium, to still, top 5, to be able to finish what he did. You could see that he had a lot of pain and, his stamina wasn't there, but he mustered through it and then put it on the podium. Hernandez, I didn't expect that in the race, but hey, he took advantage of it and left. And Jorge Martin, stood out. I would honestly have thought, Mark would have been a little stronger, but he did say that was one of his weakest tracks. And he's still a little bit banged up coming in, but you can never tell with Marquez. He's always had that weird. He's like, as they say, one of the greatest poker players you can ever play against. You never know with him.
And banged
right,
up.
But he says he's banged up.
Did he crash in the off season? In the summer break, because he came back and won like 2-3 in a row before summer break to come close.
Right, but he says he's not fully healthy. He claims he's not fully healthy. So if he's not fully healthy and he can still do this, that's kind of scary. To be, against him. But I would have thought. I would have thought Igor would have did better in the actual race. But he didn't get a good start, and then he had that issue with the height device. Him and Martin, they got stuck. They didn't brake hard enough to get it to release itself.
Yep.
So I wish he would have done better. But he did very, very well in the sprint. So, but overall, the top guys that we all thought would be there were there. And Alex came out of nowhere and surprised the heck out of me, because I wasn't expecting Alex to be the fastest Ducati on the track. I know the Ducatis were struggling with rear wheel grip. So I just don't know.
It wasn't just Ducati, but let's hear what Lewis got to say, and we'll try to do it. Because in my eyes, this thing was like Aprilia is the only manufacturer that showed up. But go ahead.
I said this last week. I said that I thought the Trackhouse team was going to be strong, and the Trackhouse team, showed up and was strong. Martin had a great sprint. He didn't have as good a result in the full race, but Aprilia overall, they're showing that they're the bike to beat at the moment. They seem to have all the pieces together. I said in the last show that, I thought this was going to be a big round for Bezecchi to bounce back from his injuries and kind of recoup after getting his head together. And he was able to pull a double podium out of the weekend. So I think that helps my points in our little competition. a little bit, but not much, but a little bit. But Ducati struggled mightily, man. Alex Marquez was the only one to get close to the podium. The Gian Antonio had good pace in both of the races. But the factory Ducatis, in the sprint race, Bagnaia, at this point, do we want to declare that he's just riding to get through the season, to get off the Ducati and go on to Aprilia? Because, he dropped like a stone, man. To see a Ducati factory bike that far down and a two-time champion on that Ducati bike dropping like a stone, getting passed by Rins on a Yamaha that's got like 9 horsepower. It might as well be a Vespa that he's riding out there. And to get passed by Rins, if you look at all the people that finished in front of Bagnaia, it was bad, man. And he literally came in 1 second in front of Pol Espargaro, which was there just because he showed up with a suit and they said, hey, we got a bike you can use. Like, that's embarrassing, man. Like, I think the donkey of the weekend is definitely Bagnaia.
I disagree with that right there.
Who's a bigger donkey than Bagnaia?
I think everyone on a non-Aprilia is a donkey for this past weekend because they all struggled. It was all, to me, not what I expected at all.
Let me just see factory riders here in comparison to non-factory riders.
And so what I'm thinking is, like, you have been banned from MotoAmerica for talking about tires. How bad was these tires for Michelin this past round? Because again, like, it seemed like outside of, and Mark struggled. Give Mark credit because Mark ate it. Mark said it's on me. BS, because Digio was struggling, Bagnaia was struggling. Ika Lucaono, crashed out, but I'll give him struggling because he doesn't normally crash out on a Ducati. He kind of crashes out on a Honda. Morbidelli, all these guys kind of struggled. The whole field struggled, not just, Yamaha, KTM, everybody struggled except for the Aprilias.
Watch what you say, because you might get banned.
I don't have a media pass from MotoGP, so I don't really give a damn. And Michelin's not going to be there next year when Coda comes around. And I'm a big cheerleader for Pirelli, so hopefully Pirelli will help me get a media pass for next year. But this just, this is something that we've been dealing with for how many years now? The entire tire pressure sensor rule is in place because Michelin can't seem to make a tire that works properly.
Right.
The only reason there's even a tire pressure rule in place is, there's two. There's one, they don't want people to ride outside of a working range of tire pressure. I can understand that because if you lower the tire pressure, you can get a little bit more grip. If you raise the tire pressure, depending on the temperature, you can get a little more grip. So there's things you can do with the tire pressure that can benefit your bike or benefit the setup of your bike. But to have a tire pressure sensor rule where you get penalized because the tire gets too hot and overexpands and the pressure gets too high, that just tells me that you make a really bad tire. Like, you can't manage the tire pressure. You can't do a certain amount of laps if the tire pressure is outside of this range. Like, it's showing me that you're making a tire that works in a very, very small range, in a very small condition, in a specific condition. And it's not like Michelin has any drive to make the tires better because they know they're out. They're out of MotoGP next year. They're going to go to World Superbike where it's not going to be the same tire. It's going to be a tire that it'll be a little bit better for them to take that tire and adapt it into a street tire and use that marketing that we're the World Superbike tire to probably try to get that tire onto manufacturer OEM bikes in a year or two in a street spec. But you have a really bad tire for this class. It's not something that just come up. And in this weekend, to see everybody struggling with tire degradation, with tires chunking apart. Like, there was some shots that were taken that came up online where you can see pieces of tires missing. The tires are literally chunking off because, we went with the soft compound because the weather conditions were, better adapted to soft compound, but we couldn't get through a sprint race. You can't get through a sprint race on a soft compound.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
No, I mean, listen here, Reese. I don't know if you want to add to that, but like once I saw Marquez was struggling, and again, goes to the point when I choose Marquez, he does bad. So I don't know. Maybe I should choose him every weekend. But like it was tough. It was a tough weekend to watch, especially the first 11 races was crazy to watch, and it was fun to watch. And this one was just lackluster, and it seems like these guys all struggled. What are your thoughts, Reese?
I mean, I agree with Lewis. I mean, it was just a bad tire. They just struggled real bad to get they are struggling real bad, I'm sorry, to make a good tire for this series. They are struggling really heavily. Maybe they may do better in the World Superbike stage with to make a more of a production tire instead of, this series tire. So they may do better. I mean, because honestly, I haven't seen a good Michelin tire for a production bike in a long time. It's like,
man. I used to race Michelin. I like them.
Michelin.
I like them a little bit, but not that much. I mean, I haven't seen a good one since way back when they first introduced the 2 CTs or something like that was a little decent. But
I am running Pirellis now, but they
exactly. Exactly. So I haven't seen a good production tire. So I mean, I agree 100% with Lewis. When you start taking chunks out, that's a problem. You got a majorly problem.
Right. But is this like a one-off thing? Because we didn't see this, for the first 11 rounds, right? So is this
Yeah, but then remember every track, the grip on the track then the abrasion on the track is a lot different. So you need to know what kind of abrasion you're coming to for this track. Right. And they should be bringing a tire that could work well with this track.
Yeah, if you think about it, there's certain tracks where you bring an asymmetric tire because you know that you're going to be running on the right-hand side or the left-hand side of the tire a little bit more. So for instance, at Daytona, when people race in Daytona, there's the Daytona spec Dunlop tire, specifically because of two things. You build a lot of heat in the tire because you're on the side of the tire and they're a very, very hard load for a long time because of the banking. And so you build a tire that meets the needs of that track. And unfortunately, Michelin has they have no reason to build any specific tires. It's just we're going to bring whatever we have in the warehouse until we get rid of it because we're not in this series anymore. We're just trying to get through the season with whatever tires we have. And, I think we've had other tire issues at other tracks. They just haven't been as prevalent because everybody didn't have tire issues. Just one or two specific riders had tire issues. But at every single round, there have been riders complaining that they've had tire issues. But it's the same reason that, you don't hear a lot of the riders in the U.S. complaining about tires. You also don't hear them on the world stage complaining about tires because they'll get their media credentials taken away from them.
Right. So, yeah. And so that's why
prime example.
Exactly. And, you do have a temporary pass this Saturday, for like an hour and a half. So, we'll see what we can do. Maybe
I'm going to show up in a disguise.
I was going to say that. Literally was going to say that. So that's why I want to say I give back Nair a pass. And also just this crash in the main race. Like, you look at that crash, it just seemed like the bike was just saying I had enough.
Yep. The tire, you can tell, we can tell the difference between a person overriding the bike and the bike just kind of he didn't do anything that was out of the ordinary, to be very honest with you. I looked at the crash and it seemed like that was how he was kind of riding all weekend. And it's one of those things where the crash, the bike just kind of in that particular corner is yeah, I'm no longer with you, man.
Which takes away confidence, right, Reese? It's to take away confidence.
Reese will tell you.
Yeah, if you ain't got the confidence in that front end, it's over. You don't want to ride. You're like, I don't want to do this. I don't have the confidence there. There's nothing there.
I mean, Reese, can you dissect it a little bit? I mean, when you, and I don't know if it's something that you can, speak from on Yamaha's experience as far as when you have a situation where a bike seems like it just chucks the rider off and the rider does nothing wrong. What do you do in that? What's the sum game in that situation?
I mean, the thing is, it is some game. You're trying to figure out, you go back to the data, you're trying to see what the tire temperature was, what is going on with the tire, did the tire spin on the wheel, how is it wearing? Is it cold tears? Is there something going on with it? Is it just blowing chunks out? You're looking at a whole bunch of different things and seeing what this tire is doing. And it's crazy. Is sometimes, you everybody's like, oh yeah, you get a new tire, and then you go look at the date on the tire. It's like we're in 26 and you got a 24 tire. You're like, where's this back in the warehouse? So it happens.
Yeah,
it definitely happens. It happens in our series.
No, we definitely know that, and Lewis has uncovered that like TMZ. So
I'm taking photos. I got receipts.
Definitely appreciate it. But it made it for a lackluster weekend because we didn't see the fight that we were anticipating. When we think about these top 8 riders, and with that said, let's talk about the riders that took advantage of that, which is the Fernandez. Even though he had issues in one race, Agura, who had issues in another race, Martin, who seems to be like, I'm collecting points, whatever, and Bez, who I don't know. I mean, I know he looked like he was in more pain than Jorge Lorenzo
at Assen.
From the color.
At Assen in 2012.
He looked like he was in pain. That man, like he wanted to cry.
But I'm like, bro, you didn't just come from surgery off a private plane. You had weeks off. It seems like these 3, the Aprilia, for whatever reason, they had the best chess game this past weekend. What are your thoughts, Reese, and then Lewis as well on that? Because they had a winner this past weekend.
They did. Whatever setup, whatever they did for this weekend, they hit it. They hit the nail on the head. It was perfect. From Trackhouse to the factory Aprilia, they hit it on the head, man. It was just perfect. It was a perfect weekend for these guys. Versus anyone else. I mean, it was no one else up there. I mean, it was almost, what was it? I think it was a Aprilia lockout the whole weekend.
Whole weekend.
So what else can you ask for in this situation? I mean, we've been at this point. I mean, with Ducati locking out sometimes, but Aprilia hit their head. They did this one. So hats off to them for that.
Yeah, no, I agree. They definitely, and which again, we'll talk about Ducati as we go on because it seems like, some of it is tire, but it seems like, they might have checked out for 2026. Lewis, what are your thoughts on Aprilia? How it was? It seems like only crashing of these riders or ride height devices that cause riders to struggle. And I'll say this: I mean, this is the first time we have seen a wrinkle in Ayagura's leather, and he lost a little bit of cool.
I don't know what they're doing at the Aprilia garage. If they're sharing the data across all the riders, if the bikes are on par across all the riders. Usually with a satellite team, you have the previous year's motorcycles. You don't always have the best equipment. But even last year, the Aprilia was a really good bike. And whatever changes they made between last year and this year, maybe they weren't significant enough to require the entire bike to be changed over to make it competitive. But for the satellite team and the factory team to both be battling, both be in that same position, it shows that last year's bike and this year's bike are either very close or both very, very competitive. Whereas the Ducatis, their transition from last year to this year, Bagnaya's had a lot of issues last year. He's having issues again this year. Mark was able to win last year, but, the second half of the season wasn't the best second half of the season that he ever had. After the crash with Bezzecchi, he's been trying to recoup. He started this year a little bit injured. He came back. I mean, for him to even be in the position he's in, as far as the points, is pretty impressive because, according to him, he still has, a screw issue where you have to have a screw replaced because the screw is hitting a nerve and this and that. I think Aprilia just has the better team dynamic between the factory and the non-factory riders, whereas Ducati doesn't maybe have as strong a dynamic. On the Gresini team, you got one rider that's out and has been out for a significant amount of time because he's been injured, which is a shame because he's an incredible talent. On the VIR. And then you also had a lot of injuries on Alex's part. I mean, Alex, had an incredible crash hitting the back of the KTM. So that entire team hasn't been able to do what they did last year, where Alex was super dominant, was in the championship conversation to like the last 6-7 races of the year. And then on the VR46 team, you have Mr. Penalty, and then you have the Gian Antonio, who's Mr. Consistency, except his consistency is 5th, 6th, and 7th place. Like he can't consistently finish in the top 3. And yeah, you can get a lot of points in 5th, 6th, and 7th place, but you're never going to win championships from 5th, 6th, and 7th place.
No.
You're going to have to put it at the top of the podium. You're going to have to get in 2nd place. You're going to have to get some more chunks of points. And just the Ducati dynamic versus the Aprilia dynamic, it seems like Aprilia has the better dynamic across the factory and the satellite team, whereas Ducati, I don't know, man, for some reason they feel fractured. Like they feel like all the teams fight against each other way too much.
Bro, Ducati had a cohesive unit until certain people showed up. That's all I gotta say. They had a good run, you know what I mean? And I'll leave it there. Let me ask this, guys. Marquez struggled before the break. He wasn't struggling. He was winning pole GP. I think he won like both races, the last 3 rounds. I'd have to double check, but at least he won the majority of the last 3 rounds of races. How much of this is Marquez getting older? Because he is older. How much of it, when you have a 3-week vacation, and when you're after a certain age, vacation hits differently than when you're younger? Is there any part of Marquez's this past weekend has anything to do with his age or physical condition? Because
I don't think so. Okay. I'll be honest, I don't think so. We're coming into it, and he did announce, like, if I watched one of the videos, he said, he knew it was coming in, and he was like, this is not one of my strong tracks. So, and it's only one race. Now, if he comes into the next 3 or 4, struggle, that might be different. That might be a different. But right now, I don't think so. I think it's just one of his weaker tracks, and he struggled a little bit. Then it's a weak track, plus he had the tire issue, so it's like a combination of both that's killing him right now. I think coming into the next track, he might be okay. We'll see.
He did show signs of. I saw when Rossi started getting passed by people. Mark was getting passed by some people that was just kind of. It was a little tough to watch. What are your thoughts, Lewis, on what I said, what Reese said?
I mean, dude, in athletics, there's one undefeated person, and that's Father Time, man. Father Time will eventually catch up to you. When it catches up to you, it depends on how you take care of yourself, your nutrition, your health, your overall exercise routine, how you live your life. If you party and you drink and you do all these other things, Father Time catches up to you a lot faster. Marc Marquez, the biggest thing he has that is giving Father Time a little bit of a speed up is Marc Marquez has crashed more in his life than you, Reese, and maybe the top 20 people on our subscribe list, like combined.
At least.
Well, and when he was younger, like he bounced, he was able to get up pretty quickly. And then eventually over time, the injuries started to pile up. They got a little bit more serious. And then, the last few years, ever since his arm break, the arm break that he had was really a real big check mark in his career. Because from that point forward, I mean, he missed almost 2 years with surgeries, with resurgeries. He had to re-break his arm. They had to reset it because it was off of the radius. Then he's had other injuries. Then he's got plates. He's got screws. He's got this. He's got to have off-season rehab. So for him to be where he's at in his career, I don't want to say that he's losing a step because he's not. On any given day, if I had to put $1 million down on this entire paddock, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to put it on Marc Marquez, man.
Right. But listen,
because he's going to squeeze every bit out of whatever bike he's on.
Right, but it's a different motivation when you find it fighting for your 9th world title.
Actually, he said something very interesting the other day. I quoted I'm probably going to mess the quote up because I'm good at that. But it was from the Zone.
It's all right,
it was from the Zone. No, but he said, if he wins another championship, it won't make a difference to him because he's won so many.
Yep.
He said it'll only make a difference to the people behind him that revel in his failures.
Yeah.
So, at his only motivation right now is to give everybody behind him a middle finger.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty strong motivation, man. Because I'm petty. And if he's as petty as I am, I want to win another championship. I don't need, it's like what he's trying to say is I don't need the money.
No, he doesn't need the
more money.
Yeah.
He's got his Scrooge McDuck pool in the back, man. He jumps off into a giant vat of gold and swims around in it.
Yeah.
What he does this now for is to try and get that last championship to separate himself and build a legacy because he's already got a legacy. He's cemented in MotoGP history. But if he gets that one more championship, he has one step up against one particular rider that he definitely wants to have that one step up.
That will never, listen, I think, and I was thinking about this earlier. He no matter how many titles he went about it wrong. Because like Ross, I was thinking about this earlier. Rossi is like Jordan. After they're dead, the brand lives on. And Mark didn't build a brand like Rossi built a brand. And I don't know if he has time to build that.
No, and he doesn't. That is definitely Rossi is definitely going to have a legacy that lives beyond motorcycle racing. Motorcycle racing will be the core of the legacy, but he'll have a legacy that transcends. It's it's like Maradona and some of these soccer players that their name, Michael Jordan transcends the sport.
Right. So I think that regardless of whatever Mark does,
it's still a good for him as a personal goal.
Come on, like top 3 in the world ever, top 3 in the world ever. Like this is.
I just want to cement my name as the top 3 best riders that ever threw their leg over a motorcycle in history.
And number 4 is far away.
Number 4 is. I mean, I couldn't even name who I would put in 4th, to be honest with you, because there's so many good riders. That are not even close to those top 3 riders, not just in stats, but just in recognition, dude.
I have my number 4. He's never won a title, but I'll give it to Pedrosa. No title, but I'll give it to him.
Number 4, man. It's name 3 riders you think would be number 4. And you and Reese, name 3 riders. Seriously, name 3 riders who you would put number 4. Because I think it's an interesting point because we all have probably different ideas. Like, I'm going to go a little further back. I'm going to start from like the 70s and all the way through the 2000s. So I'm going to say like a name like McDoohan.
Oh, no doubt. Right. No, and you're right. McDoohan's up there.
Roberts is up there.
Pedrosa's up there. You know what I'm saying?
Lorenzo,
Pedrosa.
Obviously.
Stoner.
Yep.
Stoner.
So, but they're it's
But they're on mile marker 8, and the top 3 on mile marker 97, bro. As good as all those names that we just said, dude. And they're great names, dude. Casey Stoner.
Disrespect.
If he did not have the medical issues he had and the other issues he had, Casey Stoner, I think, is one of the most dynamic, natural talents that has ever ridden a motorcycle. What he could do on a motorcycle, my man, it was crazy. Crazy.
And if you didn't come across Rossi, Lorenzo, and Marquez.
Pedrosa. If Pedrosa had
the great
been,
Bambino.
Yeah, if Pedrosa had not been in the Valentino Rossi Lorenzo era, he would be
McDoohan.
He'd be McDoohan.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But they're still so far behind the top 3. The top 3 are just such goats.
I agree. Like Mark doesn't have anything to prove. I don't even know if he can. That's why I said I think the last couple of years for Mark, and I think as any human, when you have that kind of adversity, where questions, it's one thing to question your mindset It's another thing when like Grant Hill and these guys, Derek Rose, when the physicality starts to break down, right?
Yeah.
It's a little different because you don't really have control over that, and you just hope for the best. So I think
Marquez keeps himself in such incredible shape all year round, man. Like when you see
dude, I'm not discounting the workout. I'm just talking the injury.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to catch up, man.
That's giving him the setbacks, not necessarily his work ethic.
He's got a 2-year deal now with Ducati, right? And that'll get him through 28. I don't think he'll sign after 28, man. I think the next 2 years will be the last 2 years of his career. Now, I do have a question for you because I'm a sports purist. In other sports, people sign contracts, like one-day contracts, so they can retire as a Yankee, or they can retire as a Laker, or they can retire as a Bull. Do you think that Marc Marquez should retire as a Ducati rider or take a one-day contract to retire as a Honda rider?
I'll let Reese talk, but I've already been on record on this.
Woo! I don't know. That's a tough one. That's one for the book. I say just stay with Ducati.
Yeah, I'm on record saying he should have never left Honda because he would have a longer legacy. Because where Honda finished last year, if Marquez was on a Honda last year, there's a chance he could have won the championship last year on a Honda. And I think for one championship, if he wins this year, if he wins the championships for this year, next year, and the next year, it's worth it what he did. But if he only gets one, and you think about his legacy, and he should go back to Honda because I think his legacy will be longer with Honda. And I think Honda's never really going to push Valentino Rossi. So if they can push Marquez while Yamaha push Rossi, I think it'll be good for Honda, and I think it'll be good for Marquez. So yeah, I agree. I if he can do a one day or 1 year on a Honda, I think it makes sense for him to go back to it. So every few years they can roll out Marc Marquez CBR 1000s. I think that's the way to go. And I guess it goes back to saying what I say with the marketing and the brand, where Rossi could be in bed with Ducati fully, but he still jumps on the track on a Yamaha. Why? Because it's a brand thing.
Because he's still the ambassador.
Yeah.
Yep.
He still gets a check from them.
So, I think the only flaw in that is that Honda's a great brand. It's been around for a very long time, but who else is really a Honda ambassador? Honda doesn't have ambassadors. Honda's always looked at their motorcycles as the talent and the riders as the pilots. Whereas if he does retire with Ducati, I know that Ducati has a history of not treating riders very well, but if you retire as a Ducati rider, it's a lot different than if you're racing for them and they cut you off.
No, they treat you well. Fogarty.
And they treat you well.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. McDowan is the last Honda rider they're pushing. And since Pedrosa is with KTM as a test rider, Honda ain't pushing him. So it's really McDowan. And even though, correct me if I'm wrong, but Casey Stoner won on a Honda last, and he's still Ducati.
He's still Ducati. Right. He's still Ducati all day. And again, Ducati just does more things for riders, does more things dynamically for customers. Like Honda is a great company, but they're a Japanese company that's very conservative. They're not dynamic. They don't do dynamic things. Whereas Ducati is dynamic. They do the World Ducati Day. They do the World Ducati event. They do this. They do that. They have a lot of opportunities for a retired rider to continue to have a spotlight on them.
Yeah, and we'll move on. Go ahead, Reese.
Do they even push Nicky?
Well, again,
because Nicky ended on a Honda.
Yeah.
In World Superbike.
Yeah. And I'll say this. I think that if Quartararo stayed with Yamaha, he would have a brand with Yamaha for a long time. And I don't know if he's going to get that from Honda. I think he's being a guy to win a title with Yamaha. I think Yamaha would have done that for him. And again, as a competitor, you want to win. So I'm not going to sit here and fault him. But, somewhere along the lines, if you think about the longevity, I think Yamaha would have kept him around. Let's talk about the other brands before we get into MotoAmerica. Let's talk about KTM's struggles. I mean, Yamaha struggle. Honda struggled this past weekend. So I don't even know where to start because, like, I'll say this with KTM. Acosta is the only one that's doing what he needs to. It seems like these other riders are struggling, but it seems like KTM, the brand,
they got other riders.
The engineers, they're missing a lot this year. Yeah, they got other.
I'm just saying, they missed a lot this year. I don't know what the heck they're doing. I mean, the only one that's even worth mentioning is Acosta. That's why I asked you. I'm like, are there other riders? Either they crash out, they disappear, you cry, they say this, they say people push them out. So it's like, where are they? And then you got a guy that's in there crying. You got a guy that's been there stalled out way too long as a Brad Binder. You got Bastianini that's nowhere to be found. Either ends up on his head or he comes in like 12th or something and nowhere to be found. So it's like, where the heck are these guys?
Yeah, I don't know.
So you have Acosta.
Yeah. Which is pretty impressive. I mean, Acosta is doing a much better job than Quartararo in the sense that, I mean, granted, last year he did give the KTM the finger, so Quartararo hasn't done that yet. But what are your thoughts?
But he's done his damage.
Actually, he has done it.
He has done it. He's done his damage. He's done a lot of damage.
Yeah, Quartararo's given the finger and more to the Yamaha a few times this year, to be honest with you.
That's the dumbest thing he could have done.
KTM, man, this is the land of misfit toys, man. This is the most dysfunctional 4 riders and the most dysfunctional 2 teams on the grid. I think in almost any class. I think Moto3 riders and Moto3 teams are more organized and better equipped than KTM at this point, which is crazy.
Right.
You got 2 factory riders that are both gone next year. So neither one has, Binder's not going to do much better than he's doing now. He's not getting any new parts. Acosta's doing what he can do with what the equipment he has, but he's not going to go much further than what he has at now. And then the Tech 3 team is completely imploded.
Yeah.
And then next year, pretty much the entire thing is starting from scratch. They're starting with all new riders.
Yep.
On a new bike that's unproven.
You said the whole entire KTM factory and satellite.
Yeah. Everybody. Yeah. Anybody that's wearing a shirt that's orange and blue and says Red Bull anywhere on it, they suck. They can't put 2 corners together, little less put 2 bikes together at this point. All the riders are leaving.
Yeah.
Some are leaving by choice and others are leaving because they're not re-signing them. And then the riders that they have coming in, I'm sorry to say, man, Alex Marquez, the Jan Antonio are both talented riders. They're showing up into what could be the biggest management shit show in all of MotoGP.
Right. I mean no disrespect to those guys, but it's going to be the equivalent of Mir and Luca going to Honda.
Yeah. At
Everybody
their
wants
lowest point.
Everybody wants that factory money.
So that's the part that's going to be tricky. Yeah, I agree. It's very bad. And when you look at Justin from Trackhouse, who has a NASCAR team, Gunter has a NASCAR team. Gunter's been in Formula One. Justin seemed to have come in, and he's not very braggadocious. Not I shouldn't say Gunter's braggadocious, but he's not in your face, right? He's not. You don't see you don't know what Justin is thinking, and Trackhouse is doing well. In NASCAR and in MotoGP, and this is first year Gunter in MotoGP, and you're arguing with a rider. And I mean, I know that personality is there from Formula One. I know I've seen it in their Netflix series when they first started, and he was on at that point and stuff like that, and that personality. But is his personality good for MotoGP?
No. For Gunter?
Yeah.
No. I don't think so. I mean, there's something missing because all of a sudden they just, like you said, they just imploded. It was just something that imploded in that office. And it's just something not clicking, not right, and they're missing a lot of things. Justin over in Trackhouse, it seemed like they're just clicking off. They're just clicking off one by one. They're just right there. So sometimes things can transition over, and then sometimes things can't. I just don't think that was a good fit. I don't think none of that over in KTM is a good fit right now.
Right.
They need to clean all house and start over.
All right. Lewis, is it the chief financial officer's job to clean up the mess over at KTM?
Chief financial officer? No.
It's Lewis's job.
The guy cutting the checks is not the one managing the talent, managing the equipment. He's just making sure that the finances are there to get through the season. I think that Trackhouse, the owner of Trackhouse, is doing it the way that you should do it. You move quietly, you stay behind the scenes, you make sure the team has everything they need, you work through the structure that you built within the paddock, and you don't go to the media, you don't speak. I'm going to quote my man Denzel Washington playing one of the greatest characters ever, Frank Lucas. The loudest one in the room is the weakest one in the room. If you're making the most noise, it's because you know that you have deficiency within your teams. So you're trying to deflect. You're trying to bring noise. You're trying to make it seem like, the louder you are, the weaker you are. And all you're really showing is that the structure within your team is very weak. Your inability to keep your issues within the team and manage them and keep them off the front page or off the internet. All that stuff is a distraction. All that stuff is noise. Trackhouse doesn't have any of that noise, any of those distractions. They put their head down, they go out. They know that they're losing one of the great riders that they have right now, Agura, next year. They're still supporting Agura 100%. The guy's going out every weekend. He's riding his ass off for them. He's giving it all he can to try to get on the podium week after week after week, even though he's going to be leaving that team. Look at the Tech 3 team. Everybody's checked out. Everybody's checked out. Maverick Vinales didn't show this weekend. Last weekend, he was fired. He wasn't fired. He said he wasn't fired. They said he was fired. He wasn't going to come. Then he said he was going to come. And then all of a sudden, Paul Esparro shows up and he's riding Maverick Vinales' bike. But Maverick Vinales is insisting online that he isn't fired. And now Tech 3 is putting out a statement that he isn't or is or might be or could be or should be or like it's a mess.
He's just hurt. Physically or mentally, we don't know. But he's just hurt.
As long as the check keeps clearing, he'll be hurt. Yeah. They still got to pay him. They still got a contract.
Dude, that's the worst pain when your check clear, let me tell you.
Oh, man. When I'm sitting on my couch and the check clears, I'm just like, oh, man, I hope I can make it to the mailbox and get that check. You know what? Let's do direct deposit. So I don't even have to get up off the couch. No. But I'm saying, like, this is not a way for a team to run. You don't want your dirty laundry out there. It's just like a marriage, man. When you're going to get divorced, you don't want everybody to know. One day you're just not together anymore. That's it.
Right. And you don't want to be the boss and have to backpedal or look like what you're saying isn't actually what's happening. Because it seems like Maverick read his contract.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this has happened, and this isn't the first time this has happened. But again, man, I know that the owner of Tech 3 is a very braggadocious guy. We've seen what he did in the Formula One show on Netflix and everything else. He's known as he's a personality, but it's like, dude, you're not the product. Right. The motorcycle and the rider and the team are the product. Right. You're the owner, man. Unless you're going to get on a bike, I don't want to hear from you.
Yeah, you shouldn't be the first on a champagne hit.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like the owner of the Lakers. Yeah, you own the Lakers, but my man, you have never put up a 3-pointer in your life. So just pay the players, pay the coaches, make sure that you fund the team properly, and make sure they have everything they need to win. That's all you need to do.
No, I agree. It is bad there, and I know we could spend more time on it, and which we don't have.
It could be worse if they think that they're winning the race and they, cheer one lap too early.
Well, this is perfect. You are reading my mind before we go on to talk about MotoAmerica. Watching the format this past weekend, Moto2 first, MotoGP, Moto3. Watching Moto2, the excitement, the race, crazy. Salek, crazy. Great win for the American teams between Moto2, MotoGP. great wins. We didn't talk about that enough, and we may even dive further into that. But I've seen this in club racing. I've seen this with Alicia Spargo, and I forgot to bring up Alicia Spargo as far as like, should he get more credit for bringing the Aprilia where it is, because he was there when it was dark times. But we've seen it with them. I've seen it with riders. Like, what happens? Do you not see the white flag? The penultimate lap, like what happens for a guy to like, thinking he's winning and you're crossing the line? Are you not looking at the checker flag? Because I'm looking at the checkered flag. I don't know what these guys are looking at, and they're faster than me. So what's going on, Reese? And then we'll talk with Fluid.
All I can say, man, somebody was zoned out. That was something spectacular. But when these guys don't see the flag, I mean, it's something different. I mean, I'm like, what are you looking at? What are you watching? The flag is literally in the middle of the track. Like, he's waving it to you. So it's not like, our pit board or anything like that. Like, because a lot of times the guys won't see the pit board. They'll just go by it. It's just out there to be out there. But it's not like that where they have to look to the side and see it or know exactly where it's at. This is in a standard place, and it's something waving in your eyesight. So to miss it, I have no idea. But for you to miss it, you have to be completely zoned out or just lost focus, just completely lost focus.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, look, I was sitting here saying, why is this guy not going to MotoGP? Why is this guy not going to MotoGP?
This is why.
This is why. And this is exactly why.
And this happens, and where is Gonzalez? Where's Manu Gonzalez at?
He's leading the championship.
He is leading.
He's still leading, right?
Yeah, he's leading the championship. But where did he finish? He finished
14th or 9th. No, 14th.
14th and finished
1 point.
So 2 points.
2 points. Yeah.
2 points. So if he loses the championship by 12 points.
You go back to this race.
Right.
Go back to this and know that your dumb behind had a brain fart.
Bro, I'm sitting here like, and we like fighting for the guy, or maybe me more than him, sitting here saying why he's not in MotoGP. And I'm not sitting here saying like these guys don't make a mistake because it's happened at that level. But like, bro, come on, man. Like, we see these football players that celebrate in the end zone and drop the ball before they cross the goalpost. It's like, where's your brain at, bro? The celebration is more important than actually the completion. What are your thoughts, Louis?
Man, this was one of those major blunders. So when he was interviewed, he said that he looked for the digital lap counter or the lap counter when he was coming down the straight, and he couldn't find it. So he looked on his dashboard, and it said like L1 or LP1. So he thought he was on his last lap. Again, as a rider, one of the things you do is you always keep your eyes up, and you're always looking for corner station and flag stations and everything else. The flag marshal or the track marshal at the start-finish line waved the white flag on the lap that he's celebrating. There's a big difference between a white flag and a checkered flag. So if you come around that last corner and you're already celebrating, that's telling me that you are not in the zone. You're not concentrating, because you should come around that corner, and if you're not sure, you look at that track marshal, and if you see a white flag, you keep your head down and you keep going. If you're celebrating on the apex of the last corner, you're not even looking for the track marshal. You think you've already won. That means that you just had a giant brain fart. And then, not only did he have a giant brain fart, but it could have been really bad because he chopped throttle.
Yeah, he got hit.
And he got hit so hard that he bent his exhaust got bent, so he couldn't even lean the bike over to the right-hand side because he was scraping the exhaust. And this is a major thing, man. Like, this could have been similar to the Acosta Marquez thing, where the bike just cut off and somebody behind them ran them at full speed because he thinks he won.
Right. I agree.
It's unsafe. It's stupid. It just shows a lack of concentration. And this is why he's not on a MotoGP bike. These are the things that people see behind the scenes that we don't see, that we're like, oh, he deserves a bike because he's winning a championship. Nobody deserves anything. And this is probably why he doesn't have a MotoGP bike, because people see stuff like this in him off the track or on the track that we don't see. And this is what made them decide to skip over this guy that's leading the championship for other people that aren't leading the championship, that have a higher IQ, a better race mentality, and are probably stronger mentally and ready to move to MotoGP.
I mean, his teammate is going to MotoGP, and he didn't do that well. But that's a whole story.
He might not kill nobody neither.
Yeah, but he's probably going to be a lot safer to ride with in MotoGP. This is how do you bump a person at a track day from intermediate to advanced? It's not just the speed; it's how consistent they are and how well they carry their line and how they signal that they're coming off the track, how they blend into the track. Decision making is as important as how fast you are. I'd rather be out there with somebody that makes really good decisions and might be a little bit slower than a guy that's way faster and makes stupid decisions.
All I gotta say,
heard that from so many times from Lewis.
Morbidelli, Carl.
He should be in Moto3 at this point. The amount of stupid decisions he makes are astronomical.
Oh my God.
Man.
That's all I'm saying. But it was fun to watch. It was very exciting up until that point. And again, let's talk about Phyllis Selak on the OnlyFans American Racing Team, and the fact that, again, Trackhouse, we've been sitting here talking about we want to see America at the top level, and they were at the top level this past weekend in the two top series in the world. What are your thoughts on that, Reese?
I mean, yeah, they were. The team was, I don't know about, American being up there. I mean, it was another rider that was running the team that was up there. So, I mean,
Hey, listen, man, when you get a shirt and the tag is sold on in America and it says made in America, it's made in America, man. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, but you can make it all American. Hold on. That's just like Harley. It's an American-made bike, but your parts are manufactured overseas in another country.
I understand the details of the situation, but let's not argue with the facts.
I mean, that is a fact. Is it American-made? American-made is American-made. There's
no place for facts in this conversation, all right? It's all about hyperbole. It's all about, don't dig too deep into the weeds, man. We're just looking at the bush from a distance.
I second what Lewis is saying. The American racing teams did an excellent job this weekend.
Yes.
The American racing team, minus any actual Americans, did an incredible job this weekend.
There you go. That is a very factual statement, what he said.
The LLC is from America.
Yes, the LLC is American.
However they set up there.
That's it. Everything else is overseas.
But nonetheless, it's still pretty good to see, right? So what does that say for the American racing team? What does that, I know they have flashes of where they've been on the podium, but is this something that we should be looking at and saying, okay, let's try to sustain this for, I don't know, 5-6 races out of a weekend? It'd be nice to see the American racing team and Trackhouse on the podium, right? Is that too much to ask?
It would be nice to see them up there, because at the end of the day, yes, it's not an American rider, but it's still an American team. It's an American owner that is running the team. So it shows that, that the team is getting themselves together. And I know for a fact it's not something easy to come in as a new group or a new team and try to be like, hey, we're going to put this on the top podium. It takes some time to figure out, to get the right mechanics, the right people to gel with each other, then the right rider. Then y'all trying to figure out parts and trying to figure out setups. Once you get that right party of mix, everything else is going to be a lot easier.
Right. No, I agree. I think it was a good look. We were talking about it, and to see it happen and to have them happen in both series. I mean, we may be the only people that's talking about it, but it's huge, right? Any thoughts, Lewis?
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge. I personally would like to have seen Joe Roberts be the guy in the Moto2 race that won the race, but we know he's still coming back from a multitude of injuries. He still finished in the top, I think, 15 in both both the race this week. I think he was top 15. He was 12th place.
Yeah, 12th. He finished 12th.
So, I think that it shows that the team has the bike and the team structure to put a competitive bike out there. I hope that Joe Roberts gets a little bit healthier and he can get back to his winning ways, or at least get back towards the front, because he was starting to get pretty competitive in the last couple of years before his injury, finishing in the top 10 on a regular basis, a couple of podiums. We've talked about it before. There's just such a giant divide between what we're racing here in the U.S. and what they're racing there in Europe, and the abilities of our riders here in the U.S. and their abilities for them to adapt to these motorcycles in Europe. And at some point, we need to bridge that divide. I know there's, like we spoke about it before, there's a couple of riders that are U.S. riders that are based now in Europe that are racing in the CIV, the Italian Championship, and other racing series in Europe, hoping to get the eyes of somebody that owns a Moto2 team and bring them over. And at some point, when either Joe Robert moves on or Salek moves on, I hope that the American racing team looks at some of these riders that are Americans, that are young, that are over there, and gives them an opportunity to slide into Moto2. I know you want to have competitive riders, because the more you win, the more you can get in sponsorship money and so forth and so on. But, I think having an American on the American team kind of makes sense, I mean, it's a crazy, crazy thought. I know it's out of left field, but it makes sense.
In all fairness, I mean, it doesn't happen often, but the non-American teams have had American riders on their teams and stuff like that. So,
there was no other choice. There was no American teams at all.
Well, I mean, Joe Roberts went to L-Trend for a little bit and so forth. So, and he came back a quicker rider when he got back to the American team too. Mm-hmm. So, but it was good to see. But I agree, and hopefully in the future, the American riders on American teams, and we'll be anyway. I'll save that comment for a different show. Let's talk about MotoAmerica real quick before we get out of here. I know Reese already said it. I don't know if he said it, but what are we hoping to see this weekend, guys? And I guess I'll say this. This is one of my last thoughts before I move on to MotoGP, I guess, because like the MotoAmerica round at Mid Ohio was crazy. It was fun to watch. It was very exciting. That Moto2 race was definitely exciting. I mean, the sprint race was. But the main race was very lackluster, which was a little bit disappointing because I was hoping to see more. But what are you hoping to see this weekend, guys, in VIR? Now we got a few rounds left. Literally, there's no room for mistakes. What are we hoping to see at this track? Who's going to come out on top? Who should come out on top? We won't find out until the weekend's over. We'll start with Lewis, and then we'll go to Reese since he's bound by contract.
I'm hoping to see the sun. Hopefully, a lot of the sun. Because I live only a few hours from Danville, Virginia, and as of right now, I might bring my jet ski with me.
Okay.
Because Friday is looking super sketchy, and Sunday is looking super sketchy, and Saturday is looking slightly sketchy. So it's not going to be fun, especially at that track. If you know anything about VIR is a very single file track. There's only a very few places where you can make clean passes without doing a bonsai move. You can make a clean pass under the bridge, starting to go up the hill. If you can get a drive on somebody and get up on the inside of them, you can do a little bit of a bonsai move at the top of the hill, dive up on the inside of them in the downhill right-hand turn, and then coming down that hill, coming onto the front straight. It's pretty straight one line. Like you can't really dive on the inside of somebody or come around the outside of somebody without getting punted into the grass or punting somebody into the grass. And then you've got the braking zone at the end of turn one. So there's only really 3 spots to pass there. And when it's wet there, that is not a fun track, man, because it's a lot of elevation and you're putting a lot of load on the front end coming down the hill right as you bottom out to get on the front straightaway. A lot of people chuck it there in the rain. At the end of the front straightaway, it's a long, almost like double apex left-hander, a right-hander. A lot of people chuck it there. Then there's a couple, like a combination of right-handers with some left. Like, it's not a great track when it rains. And if it does become a wet weekend, I mean, JD Beach will probably benefit from it because he's really good in the rain, and the attack team overall is good in the rain. The attack team, for some reason, they know how to build a great rain bike. But I hope I don't see rain, man. That's what I want more than anything, because I believe this is one of the triple header weekends, right, Reese? So there's going to be 3 main races in Superbike. One on Saturday and 2 on Sunday.
Oh man, I gotta work.
And this is 75 points that are up for grabs, and this could be a big swing in one direction or another, depending who walks away with the bulk of those 75 points. If Sean Dylan Kelly puts his head down and walks away at 75 points, everybody behind him is got some issues. But if somebody can grab those 75 points and he doesn't finish in the top 2 or 3, then we can be looking at a swing in who's leading the championship out of this weekend.
Right. Okay. Reese, you heard all that, man. Where's this race won? Q1, Q2. Where's this race won?
I mean, this race is going to be one and where you right at the start. I'm not going to say at the start, but you have a better chance of where you qualify and how you start the race. This is where you're going to have that chance, especially if it is a wet race, the way it's looking. Like, I did look at that weather. It did look kind of wet. And like Lewis said, it's a single file line mostly throughout the race. If let's say it does rain and the sun comes out, because, Danville is that little sketchy place. It has happened where it's poured down raining right before maybe like an hour before the race or right before the race, the sun pops out and you're watching this track go up in smoke, and it's just like, okay, it's drying out. So it's one of those sketchy races that you just don't know. I hope no rain. I hope it stays dry for the guys. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be there this race. I have some stuff to take care of. But I did talk to JD last race. I said, man, this is a track where he went 1 year in Super Sport, and it rained real heavy, and that's when we had to, and then they cleared everybody off the track, and we came back to the track, and I was like, JD, I think you should go to intermediates because this track is drying out. He went to wet, and sure enough, he got out front, led, and at the end, he was all the way in the back because the track dried out, and those rains were just getting ate up. Right. So it's one of those tracks. So I think it could be one in qualifying and where you and how you start this race. I hope that like I said, I just hope it's a drive, but there's no room for error in these coming races. There's none. The thing is, like, the top 5 guys are sitting right there. I mean, Matt is like 20 something points back. JD 34. Bobby's sitting right there behind JD, only a couple points. So it could take a major swing any which way. 75 points up for grabs is a lot.
Right. No doubt. Well, we're going to be there. VIR Crew is going to be in the building. We got our live show Saturday morning, 8:15. If you're going to be late, 8 o'clock if you're going to be early. We're going to have a lot to talk about. We may have some surprise people popping in saying what's up. So it's going to be exciting. I got my raincoat, my rain boots. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to stay dry.
Might not be out there in that field till it dry. It might be a little wet and damp if it do.
All right, I'm driving up, so I'm going to have my scooter. I'm not going to be doing a lot of steps this weekend, so I'm excited about that.
I know where I'll be at least having lunch.
There you go.
Orange cat. Yeah, he'll be over in our tent. Don't worry about it. He'll still come over there.
Right, I heard about the fixing he had over the past weekend. So
it's really good, man. Really, really good.
I'm just saying, Reese, you might have to tell the folks at Attack Yamaha they need to embark.
Yeah, if they want me to mooch off of them, they got to step up their game.
This guy.
so we can start getting the food out there, and because it's all about the food. Let's talk about. I know TJ's in here tonight. This is the past weekend of round of points. Whenever I pick Marquez, he doesn't do well. Struggled a bit, walked away with 31 points. TJ 38. Reese, it seems like you're trying to come up. With that 51 point. I saw you earlier, I think round 7, you decided to dig in. Lewis, I don't know what's happening there.
Hey, he still took second.
Does this work for me? Does that give me this overall score? So I'm still in the front, 601 points. TJ, 482. Reese, 570. Lewis, you got some catching up to do. So,
hey, considering I missed 3 rounds, man, I think I'm doing pretty good. I think if I had done those 3 rounds, I'd definitely be in third.
Right. Yeah, you probably, but considering it is you're at least better than the person in 5th place.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. It was a tough weekend. I mean,
I bet you I get a GP seat before the 3 in front of me because I have a stronger mentality. I make less mistakes.
Hey, listen, we shall see, man. We shall see. That's the beautiful thing about this motorcycle racing. Anything is up for grabs. But it was exciting it was exciting to watch. A little lackluster, I'm not gonna lie, because I'm happy that Aprilia won. I almost picked Aprilia all the way and decided to go Marquez just based on how the before the summer break ended and how dominant he was at these tracks that you just assumed he was going to continue, and that was a little disappointing to see. And then we touched on it a little bit, but I think he's taking one for the team, and I think Ducati was struggling a bit more than it was just Marquez. Where we saw a lot of the riders struggle. Let me say to you guys before we get out of here.
Yeah, man, we've got one last piece to talk about, and that is the chaos at COTA this past weekend.
Yes.
I didn't see this. I got to hear this.
I'm my popcorn ready.
I got to stretch for this one.
Right.
So I personally know a few people that took the ride down from the Northeast down to COTA this weekend for a track day with a company that will remain nameless, but everybody knows who this company is. And for all,
now your screen went black.
Yeah, it's a thing.
They infiltrated you, Lewis.
They're trying to silence me.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
So this particular company, they had a track day event this weekend, and it was utter chaos. So from what I understand, or what the internet is sharing, is this particular company might have oversold the spots at COTA by a significant amount. And there were groups of 60, 70, or 75 plus riders per group going out there.
Hell no.
Wow.
So they were running a 4-person rotation. And the crazy part is, so earlier this year, I was working with Track Social because they were looking to rent a day at COTA this year before, the track goes private. And we looked at some numbers of renting COTA for one day in the off season. So the off season starts right about now, end of August, beginning of September. And the cost for the track day with insurance and everything else would be somewhere in that $80,000 to $90,000 range. And we were considering selling the spots because we max out at, there's only typically it's only like 80 to 90 people, depending on the length of the track, so that the volume of people on the track versus the length of the track kind of equals out. So that only so many riders per quarter mile.
Right.
And videos coming out of literal conga lines. I mean, it almost looks like the parade lap at MotoGP. of some of the sessions. So on Saturday before lunch, there were so many red flags that the track had to intervene and actually ask the event host to speak to everybody that's there and trying to get them to understand that if the chaos continues, they're going to shut the track down early. Because even when you rent a track, if you have too many incidences at the track, it impacts the track's ability to rent the track later, negatively. And sure enough, they ended up closing the track early on Saturday and letting everybody know that everybody that's returning Sunday, you're kind of already in the warning zone. And if Sunday kicks off and goes the same way, Sunday would probably get cut short as well. And so the internet and our fellow riders and people that attend track days are just lambasting this company. Some of the people were blaming COTA, but at the end of the day, COTA is renting the track. The track day provider is responsible for the way that they conduct, the way they resell the event, and the way that they host and having staff to manage that many people. It doesn't seem that they had the amount of people needed to manage that many people. And just at the end of the day, the biggest issue is they just oversold the day, because right now there's a giant hysteria to try to go to COTA because everybody is under the impression that it's the last time they'll ever get a chance to ride COTA. So companies are upping the price of their COTA days. So this particular company, just to ride the track, I believe was $800 a day. And with garage and other amenities, they were charging in up to about $1,600 with a garage per day.
Oh, God.
I make it rain.
And making it rain. And they were running 4 groups. So if you're running 4 15-minute sessions and you're putting about 70 people per group, which is not realistic because advanced group never sells out. But supposedly they were moving people around also to try to maximize and sell as many spots as they can. Mm-hmm. So if you sell that many spots and you've got, let's say, we'll average it out to 65 by 4, numbers guy, 260 potential tickets sold in one day, which seems excessive.
A little bit.
A little bit. So let's round it down to 200 times, and let's average it out that, let's say about 50% of the riders went for the $1,600 package, and the other 50% went for the $800 package. So we'll average that out. So they could have potentially made or sold $200,000 to $240,000 worth of passes per day. And after all expenses were paid for the track, because we are in peak season, this company maybe walked away with anywhere between $170,000 and $220,000 in potential profit.
What you talking about?
And as of right now, anybody that missed the last 2 rotations or 25% of the day from Saturday is getting 0.0% of a refund. That's just the way the day goes. It's kind of like if it rains, you don't get your money back. You're kind of screwed. And this is the kind of thing that puts a very bad taste in the mouth of a lot of customers and a lot of people that do track days, and discourages people from doing track days. I know the friends of mine that went from New York all the way down there, each one spent on average about $3,500 between the track day, the transport of the motorcycles, the hotel, and everything else that goes into it, because this was a bucket list thing for them to ride COTA. And in return for their $3,500, $3,600, $3,800, they got to enjoy realistically,
chaos.
Utter chaos.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate. You know what I mean? And, it'd be one thing. It's tough when you hear that the organization made a profit when they've oversold. And I'm a huge music fan. I've been to many concerts throughout my life. I've been to many places where they have oversold shows and you can't get in, and it's no fun when you're the person on the outside and can't get in. I've been to tracks where, mostly racing, not track days, so I can't really speak on it like that. But nonetheless, there's still 60 bikes on the grid, 2 waves kind of thing, maybe 3 waves or whatever. When you have a lot of bikes on the grid, a lot more carnage can happen. I can only imagine when you have a lot of bikes on the track for track days, and these folks are not at the same level. It makes it very difficult for an inexperienced rider to feel comfortable at the track, and it makes it difficult for an experienced rider at the track because they got people in front of them that don't have the skill set that should be in front of them. So in any case, I don't see a good outcome. I don't see the advantage of having a good outcome in this situation where you're overselling the track. And I don't know what the right answer is in a situation like that, because at some point they knew they oversold. At some point, there was a decision made to say, okay, let's do it, or refund some people, because they could have refunded some people to keep it under control and stuff like that. So there were decisions made that could have, I don't know if it would have been a better outcome, because if I travel from New York to COTA and you're telling me I'm the person that lost out on being on the track for no other reason than just how I just drew the short straw, I'll feel a way about that. So I honestly don't know what the right answer is, but this is not good either way.
Yeah, I don't think there's an answer specifically. I mean, obviously the easiest answer is, the track day organizations need to have some accountability for how many spots they sell at a track based on the metrics of the track. So if the track is, a 2.8 or a 3.2 mile track, most tracks will tell you that they want a maximum of this many riders on the track. Like the track will actually tell you, we don't want more than this many on the track. If a track doesn't give you that metric, they're still going to give you a general idea. Hey, the track is this big, and based on the length of the track, this is what we recommend. They might not put it in writing, but they'll still give you a recommendation. But at the end of the day, as the organizer, as the person renting the track, you should have some accountability for, one, making sure you have enough staff to manage the volume of people that show up.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to have 200 people showing up and you have 25 or 30 staff on hand, that's not a great ratio. That's 9-1.
Right.
And at a track as big as COTA, 9-1 is not great, especially if you have three groups that require some level of coaching. If you have a novice group, a beginner group, and an intermediate group, as well as an advanced group, of those four groups, the only one that doesn't necessarily need coaching or control riding is the advanced group. They should know what they're doing. But all the three other groups need some level of either coaching or management, traffic management, rule enforcement, assistance when helping the riders. Because the other thing is you're banking on the hysteria that's being created, that this is the last opportunity. So you're going to get a lot of people that have never been to this track going to the track. So that, again, you should take that into account when you're thinking about how many spots to sell and how much staff you need. And this is just, it seems like, it was all about, let's try to sell as many spots as we have. We'll figure out the rest once we get there. And, the chaos has just been unbelievable. I mean, online, they're getting dragged every single way that they should realistically get dragged. I know some people initially started to blame the track, but at the end of the day, the track is just renting the track. The organizer is the person that's in charge of what they're selling. Mm-hmm. And if you're overselling, you're overbooking, you don't have the staff, you don't have the pieces in place to manage correctly, at the end of the day, the track also has to look out for their best benefit or for their best interests. If the person I sold it to has nothing but people going out there and crashing, breaking down bikes, crashing, damaging my property, which is the track, and causing chaos at the track and possibly putting a black mark on my safety record, I need to intervene at that point because I need to protect my investment, which is the track.
Right. No, I agree. I completely agree, which is unfortunate. We're going to follow up with it next week and see how this thing plays out, which is unfortunate. But I do appreciate you, Lewis, and bringing this because this is wild, and we try to do our best to bring it to the public as we do. Reese, you want to add anything before we get out of here?
No, I mean, I agree with Lewis on that with the track situation.
Yeah,
I definitely do.
Yeah, I completely agree. My name is Rex45. It's the Be Forever Cool podcast. I want to thank Reese with Attack Yamaha, Lewis, the numbers guy, the real Lewis Ortega. Peace.
So you have VIR in my disguise.
Yes.